Oh, and we're live. Slightly a little bit late then. So we're going to be talking about an episode called All Through the House, I think it is.
Yep.
And I think it's episode 8. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
Right. And so, Jeff, do you want to give us a summary? And any other Jumain information, such as like behind-the-scenes gossip or whatever?
Yes, All Through the House was episode 8 of season 3 of Homicide: Life on the Street. It was written by Henry Brommel, who became the new co-executive producer that year. And I'm trying to get to the summary, but my equipment is, being a little squirrely on me. Directed by Peter Medak, how do you pronounce that? So, Henry Brommel joined Homicide at the beginning of the 3rd season as a co-executive producer. This was the first episode that he was credited as the writer on. He would be part of the show's staff for the 3rd and 4th season. And sort of replaced, you might say, in the 5th season with David Simon, who wrote the Homicide book. See some of his style of humor, I think, in this episode. As for what happens, this episode summary comes from TV.com. It just says, Munch spreads his usual Christmas cheer. Russert, who misses detective work, joins Lewis on an investigation into the murder of a material witness. When she discovers she knows something about the victim's case, Munch and Bolander investigate the death of a man in a Santa Claus suit, and Munch spends the evening with the child they believe is the victim's son. Belton buys Christmas presents for the kids, although he still doesn't know where his wife and the kids are. Bayless searches the station in search of someone who will play him in a game of hearts. And of course, he eventually gets G to play him for money, and G takes all his money. And that was most of what happened. The mother of the victim that Lewis and Russert were investigating. I can't remember the actress's name. It's probably here somewhere. She was played by the same woman who played Frasier's mother on Cheers once upon a time.
I've got some names here. Are any of them these? I don't mean these. I think I might have some at the end.
You're asking me because I'm still on the website.
All right, who did the women play?
Nancy Marchand, that's the actress I was talking about. The character's name was Lorraine Freeman.
Oh, was that the older woman? Late middle-aged?
Yeah. Yeah, the victim's mother.
Yeah. Yeah, Nancy Marchand, yeah.
Yeah, the deal with that was the girl was actually wealthy or from a wealthy family, but she got involved in drugs, and so she spent her money on that, and so got involved with some nefarious people and ended up dead because she was supposed to testify against a drug dealer, and it was actually the drug dealer's girlfriend that ended up killing her. So, Ben, what do you think of All Through the House?
What did I put? I think it's pretty good. Especially the stuff with Munch and the humour. Now, they seem to, in a lot of programs, they get gambling wrong. So, for instance, right, G says never mess with this. And it's like if someone's a great card player in TV, like when the TVs went by, people don't know what they're doing. Suddenly, it's like they're the luckiest people alive, and they've got like 4 aces, or they've got like the best hand possible. And it's like G had this really good hand. Well, so basically, his performance was due to luck rather than skill. But
well,
that's neither here.
The skill is more in setting someone up to think that you don't know what you're doing.
Okay, if you want to do a full rundown on how to play hearts and what exactly skills apply there and what is luck, you can go ahead and do that. I assume that is not what this is actually about.
I know. That's why I've not gone further into it. Right.
There obviously is luck involved in card games, but unless you're cheating, which they never explicitly say that he didn't cheat.
Right, I was trying to say.
But even if he didn't, you could still. There are ways, because I've actually for a while I played Hearts a bunch online, and there are definitely ways to sort of lull your opponent into thinking that you don't have a good hand, and thus they bet more money, and then you end up cleaning up. So that sort of is a skill.
Oh yeah, it's just that like when you have the best hand. Anyway, I don't even know the rules to the game. Right, so are you there? Is the sound okay?
It's okay, yeah.
Right, okay. It's just that I've been having internet problems for a bit. Because maybe I had the problems at the weekend. I put here for good opening scene, especially at the end. Merry Christmas, Homicide.
Yeah.
I think that was from Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and Bolander going up to level 10 on the SJ scale.
Yeah, because he was cheery for Christmas because you're supposed to be, not because he really was, but because it's just you're supposed to be.
And then there was a great thing from Munch when he said, "Ho ho ho, homicide."
Yeah.
Now, and I was going to ask you, do you feel like saying something like that when it is Christmas?
Like ho ho homicide?
Yeah, try and work it in.
Not that particular thing, no.
It'd be hard to work it into a certain context.
Yeah, well, if I actually answered a phone homicide, then that might occur to me. But since I don't,
Nah.
the place I worked, it really wouldn't work exactly. So, yeah, might be frowned upon by my employers to answer the phone homicide. We already get enough people who call us and think we're the cable company.
Oh yes, this bit. There's a wonderful thing, the discussion between Munch and Bolander about what Munch believes in. And he said, "I believe that one day I will be sitting at a bar in Hong Kong and this incredibly attractive and submissive woman with an abiding interest in art and existential philosophy will come up to me and say, 'Take me home and ravish me.'" Now, the bit in there that I believe is genius is when he puts in "and submissive."
Mm-hmm.
That was the genius bit. Because hardly anyone ever says that. Incredibly attractive and submissive, i.e. say exactly what they want.
I don't know. I mean, a fair amount of people probably say something to that effect.
Yeah. Probably ESTPs. Right. Oh, yes. On seeing the dead Santa, it says, "Oh no, Rudolph's going to be pissed."
Yeah.
And then, hey, wait a minute, I can show visual aids.
Yeah. I was about to say, it's still just on the screen of the the truck or the car.
Well, it's hard for me to. There he is. Mr. SJ, and then he's giving him the finger. There's a lot of people, like, you know, wear gloves. Right, right. Someone got burnt up.
Wear gloves?
Yeah, he's got bare hands, I think.
A lot of people do wear gloves, yes.
Yeah, they should wear gloves. Right. We got there. Oh, yes. Yes, there was something I put in here. There was a lovely little bit from the actor playing G. I'll just go through these because I've made these notes in order. And that's where he told him what he believes, I think, about the meeting the woman in Hong Kong. And this is the bit with the dead Santa where he says Rudolph's going to be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the bit about Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. Alright, and then we've got, okay, McGibney. Now I'm waiting for the image of G. Right, then G's clearing out their drawers. This was the bit I really liked. And I think this is true to an ESTJ. That's the exact, because he was asking about where a particular street was, and G said he was in a particular street, and then Lewis makes the fact of, I think somebody says something like, "Oh, Bolster native," and that's going to be an ESTJ's reaction to getting something wrong, I suppose. Oh no, did I get something wrong? Is that your experience, Jeff, with the STJs that they don't like being wrong?
Well, I don't really know anyone who likes being wrong, but
Yeah, on a factual piece of information.
But yeah, they tend to be pretty insistent that they know something is right till they're proved wrong.
Yeah. And I just thought that was a good reaction shot. Just that little moment.
All right.
Yeah, so I'd put here the look on G's face when he gets the location wrong. Oh, yes. A nice little thing is, because initially the kid, right, is the nice that they're giving to the kid when they realise he's the son of the dead bloke, what they thought at the time. You know, because suddenly they changed their attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, oh, okay, well, you know, because before then there was no way they were going to give him $5 each. So I like that. Yeah, go on.
I liked the kid.
Well, it's probably an SP.
Yeah. Yeah, he does the nice turnabout on Munch, because usually Munch is the one like sort of psychoanalyzing people amateurishly. Yeah. Now the kid was doing it on him.
Yeah, and this is right, and this is the reaction shot, folks. After the kid has right, there's a bit here. A very good point from the kid about Munch being impressed by his own word usage. So the kid says, "You've got a weird way of talking. Don't start with me again, Fidel. It's like you have to use all these weird words, and it's like you're listening to the words like they were in a cartoon coming out of your mouth, and you're watching them thinking, I'm cool, I'm cool."
Mm-hmm.
Morgan might think that of INFPs. You might think they're over-impressed with themselves, with their use of words. Right. I don't know.
I don't think that's weird to randomly say I think, or that I, that.
Well, I just thought that you'd generally be the sort of person to complain about INFPs.
They're fine about it. Just get him out of my.
Oh yes, there was a lovely bit from G. And like I said, you said the style of the humour of the right. I've not taken a grab at that bit, but there's a lovely bit where G is talking to Bayliss, and he says, "I know I may seem imposing, intimidating, regal even, but I'm not really." But that little bit, regal even, that was genius. Yeah, and then we got here, and then I put here, this is towards the end, boring scene between Meldrick and the woman that's not Howard.
Are you talking about the scene at the bar, or?
Yeah, the scene at the bar.
Okay. Well, she even says that her husband was boring. I thought that was actually pretty good. when she says, "Yeah, he was boring." He would talk about another SJ because she's like he would be embarrassed if he was having too much fun. Yeah, when he's got the helmet on, Munch. I mean, I thought it was a funny line when the kid's like, "Maybe if you took off those stupid dark glasses." Because he already mentioned earlier, like, why do you wear dark glasses?
Yeah, sorry, he could have said, hey, these are prescription, stupid dark glasses.
Yeah, I don't actually remember even what he said the first time when he asked him, why do you wear those inside?
I think he said, I've got very sensitive eyes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right. Yeah, so I like that one, apart from that scene. It's not that I didn't dislike that scene, I just thought, why are they showing this scene unless it's going to lead somewhere? Because the only point of that scene was as if there's going to be a romantic relationship between Meldrick and that woman that's not Howard.
I mean, not necessarily. They wanted to give a little more background information on the characters. I mean, you could say the same thing about the scene with Pendleton and Bayliss talking about card games, but, you know, it just sort of gave a little bit more about them.
Yeah, I thought that one was better, though. The one with Bayliss and Pendleton. Right. I don't know what else to say about it. I've gone through the bullet points. Shown me grabs. Showed another old TV with dials on it. Pardon?
I said, I guess you. That's what I said. I guess you could give your rating then, I guess, if you don't have anything else to say about it.
Ooh. Right. I'll give it an 8.
Cool. Me too.
I was just knocked off a couple of points for some boring scenes with Lewis and the not Howard woman, and I'm going to see that.
Russert is her name. Russert.
It's like that thing where you said, what was it in Kinder, the not we.
Yeah. Yeah, not we woman. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the trouble when you have the network forces you to take on a character and then you have to find ways for her to do stuff. I mean, in the first episodes with the White Glove murders, it made sense because she was the shift commander that took that case. But then after that, they have to find ways to shoehorn her into plots because it's not natural for the rest of the cast to be, spending much time with her. So.
Yeah. And if it was Crissetti, it'd have funnier lines.
Probably.
Because and there wouldn't be interchangeable lines, is because there would be lines which came from his character's point of view.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't know who the network really thought they were gaining by that. I mean, was there really anyone who was tuning in to... They would have been like, well, I wasn't going to watch the show with the fat Italian guy, but now there's a chick on there, then I'll watch it.
Yeah, a chick that's going to be in like one scene. I mean, people actually did that when it was Star Trek Voyager, and it was Jerry Ryan in a cat suit, but probably not for her, because like they would have her in like one scene in a lot of episodes, and then they put her in the trailer.
Right.
Right.
The equivalent of putting somebody in the YouTube thumbnail.
Yes, I do that sometimes with Jenna. Yes. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. You know, somebody has one scene, but oh yeah, it's totally about her. Yeah. Go ahead and tune in.
And Jenna's clothes are better than the Not Howard Woman.
Yeah, I guess for the time period, you know, probably the case. Like I said, with you can try to dress up Homicide, but the thing is that people didn't wear too many outlandish clothes. I mean, Pimbleton got made fun of for his clothes being a little bit too stylish for a police detective, and he's not exactly super flashy in his dress.
Oh no, what I mean when I talk about Jenna's clothes being good is clothes that fit her well.
Right, I get it. I'm just saying there's not much you can do with.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know, at least in the workplace. I mean, you can have scenes, you know, where they're not in their work clothes, but and there would be a few more of those over the years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't anything detracting about her. It was more about. Anyhow, we are totally digressing. So, is there anything else you want to say, Jeff?
Ever in my life?
About this? Have you got any behind-the-scenes gossip on this episode?
Behind-the-scenes not really. I mean, other than what I already said about, you know, it was Henry Bromwell's first episode. There's not like unfortunately, that stuff I was reading that was like Wikipedia stuff, they don't have anything for this episode. There's a gap there for where nobody has written articles for. There are a few later in the third season that they do have them for them, so it's kind of sporadic after that. But no, don't particularly know. Well, I mean, I guess the one thing I could say, having listened to the audiobook of David Simon's Homicide book now, is that the few of the things from this were taken from some of the stuff they talked about in the book, because they did discuss, because in the book David Simon spent a calendar year with the Homicide Department, so towards the end of the book it has the December stuff, so he has some of the Christmas things they were doing in the squad room. So a few of those things were taken out of the book, though it's not like word for word or anything. But
how did he get the gig of writing a book on the? Was he already a journalist or something?
Yeah. He was a reporter for the Baltimore Sun. He was the reporter on the police beat, as they call it.
Right. So they would have trusted him anyway. Right.
Yeah. So he already knew people in the department. It wasn't just coming out of nowhere. But. Yeah, much later, hopefully you won't consider this a spoiler, but much later in the show, there's a scene where Pimbleton and Bayless are talking, where it's actually a plug that David Simon stuck in for another book he wrote called The Corner.
Oh, well, now I have the huge spoiler that neither of them are killed off this season. Oh, dear. Okay, dagger through the heart.
Sorry. All right, I mean, two characters are talking, and one of them mentions the book The Corner, which is a real book by David Simon, but it's in typical Homicide style. Rather than make it this cheesy plug of the book, I mean, they sort of
Criticize
set it up that way, but then Pemberton makes fun of he mocks the idea of somebody writing a book about homicide detectives. Like that would be
Yeah.
a waste of time or something, So it's funny because
Did they actually mention the name of the book?
Yeah, it was called The Corner.
Oh right, so yeah, I thought right, okay, gotcha. Right.
Yeah, it was another book David Simon wrote that was actually about a drug corner, like some place where there was drug sales done. So, which
Ooh, that
apparently
sounds.
he used something. What?
I didn't. Oh, that's a bit risky for a journalist to write about that. He could get popped off by the.
Yeah, well, not only did he write the book, but then later on, when he created the show The Wire, they basically had a different setting each season, and one of the seasons was based on that book. So it was following the drug trade, basically. So yeah.
Wow, I don't know if people would do that these days. With the reach of the Mexican drug cartels.
Well,
Right.
the thing is I guess the way that David Simon continued to get access to things was that people felt like he was very fair in the way that he told stories, like in terms of it was realistic and it wasn't like out to get anybody. It was just telling the story of this is what goes down.
Right. Oh, good. Maybe we could do a separate video in future on the book. That might give away to maybe that could be the climax after all of the episodes. Right.
Yeah, maybe.
So should I end the video now, Jeff? What do you think?
I guess so.
Right then, here we go. It's goodbye for me, folks.
See you next time for our next exciting Homicide episode. Which, off the top of my head, I don't remember. Oh yeah, it's Nothing Personal is the next one. So
Okay.
so
I'm gonna release
next time.
my finger now.